So Neil and Joe, thank you so much for joining me.
No
Yeah, welcome.
worries.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us.
So guys, I just wanted to catch up and it's been 2 years since you did the relationship code event. How have things been for you guys since then?
I think really great. Um,
Mhm.
a woman with lots of words, but has um, it's definitely made us on the right track, and we've got a lot more awareness around us as in a relationship and how we
Mhm.
both communicate with each other, and I guess how we show up, and we can kind of
Mm,
catch ourselves out a little bit more. So it's definitely given us some good tools. I think we're actually in the best we've ever been.
yeah, and I think for me personally as well, it gave me a lot more self-awareness about myself, but also a lot more awareness about Joe because there was things that used to frustrate me about her because I didn't understand how a woman
That's
worked.
because she's a woman, right?
Yeah, I didn't understand how a woman worked in the thought process that they go through. And once someone
Yeah.
kind of explains that to you and you understand how these beautiful creatures work, then it changes everything. And the things that used to frustrate me, now I see her doing these things and I laugh and I smile. And like Joe said, our relationship now is the best it ever was or ever has been.
Mm.
And not that it was ever bad. We came to the code looking for these little one percenters to make our lives a little bit better.
Yep.
And I think we got 100% because now we're having a little baby boy.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing, right?
Yeah, it's incredible.
And I think that's a great point, right? Because some people tend to think, oh, I need to come to a relationship course if my relationship's crap. But it's actually the opposite. As you know, we're very much about those one percenters, right? And if even if your relationship's good, it can be great. Like it can be absolutely great. And I think it's searching for those things. So, Neil, would it be fair to say that before it was good, but there were things like you said that were just irritating, particularly in the home life, but also because you guys have a business together, right?
Mm,
That's always a point of conflict for couples too.
yes, yeah. And there was a lot of conflict before we came to code. It wasn't enough conflict to cause like real issues between us, but we were clashing quite a lot. And we couldn't really put our fingers on what it was. But then again, with the awareness thing and learning more about the masculine and the feminine,
Yep.
wow, now it's changed everything. And
And I think that was
yeah.
the biggest driver for us when we heard about what you guys were doing. We said, look, we're working together. We need to keep building on this relationship because the frustrations that we're getting may turn into something worse. And we know that we
Yeah,
all
right.
need to keep like improving on it. So when we came to the code, it was nothing like what I expected it to be. And I actually thought it was going to be all about the relationship, but I learned so much about myself as
Mm.
well. And I think that's the biggest takeout of
Right.
personally how like I see myself and how then I know I can show up in our relationship.
So what do you mean you learnt about yourself, Joe? Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, so I guess when I came in, I thought it was all going to be about, just how you need to be in a relationship, but
Hmm.
I didn't know why I was the way I was, and why I might I'll be triggered.
Yes.
And it was less about the relationship, and I learned more about, well, what triggers me? Why do I act like that? Why do I let that bother me? And what are the deeper things I need to work on personally that then
Yes.
makes our relationship so much better.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And as you know, right, we cover that at two levels. One is the level of conditioning that makes us triggered by those things. And then as Neil said, the other level is how do we understand each other as men and women? Because we're going to react to things very differently because of that. So,
Yeah.
Joe, do you think you understand men better?
Um, yeah, I actually think that men are a bit easier to understand. They're quite black and white.
We men would agree with you, Joe.
Yes, yes.
But I think knowing how I have been and how I
Yes.
haven't necessarily been in my feminine when we have arguments,
Yeah.
that has made this relationship better. So it's less about my understanding of men, but what he has had to deal with me showing up in ways that would trigger him. So I
Yes.
think understanding them triggers and why a male or a masculine energy would be triggered in certain aspects.
Yeah. Has it also helped for you in terms of like the culture, in terms of how women are meant to show up?
Yeah.
And has it given you permission to show up, particularly in business, differently. Like it's okay to be in your feminine. It's okay that dates aren't quite as important to you as they are to him in terms of
Oh,
growth.
100%. I'm such a driven human, and every job that I've had or within the business, like I want the success and I want to be top dog or whatever it might be. And you
Yeah.
feel like to do that, you have to step in your masculine and like demand and command.
Yes.
Learning about feminine, like I just think it's awesome that you've got more power being in your feminine, and you'd never know that because it was always that negative about, as in women have to step up in the man's world, but
Yes.
actually we've got more power if we step up as a woman, as feminine
Mm.
in a man's world, like in not a man's, it's not a man's world. But it that really has helped and actually makes you feel better about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And Neil, from your point of view, has that helped in terms of her understanding how to be in the feminine more and interrelate with you? Has that
Yeah,
helped you?
100%. And when I said earlier we couldn't put our finger on what the problem was, Joe was in a masculine a lot,
Mm.
which then knocked me into my feminine a lot. And that's where the clash was. And since we've
Yeah.
worked that dynamic out and we understand it more, it's changed the full dynamic of the relationship. And I think you referred to it as the dance, the dance of the masculine and the feminine. It is a dance, and it's such a beautiful thing when that dynamic is right, because the
Yes.
relationship just hums along nicely.
Yeah. So you jumping into the feminine, let's, define that for the guy. What do you mean by that? Like, how do you know before you're in the feminine compared to now you're able to stay in the masculine a lot more? And how, what were you like before? Was it like you're always, you said like she'd irritate you.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's always one sign. We're in our feminine state, or not in our certainty is probably a better way of
yeah,
expressing it,
that's
right?
it.
Then when she's being uncertain or she's more talking about emotions and facts, that's very irritating to us, right?
Correct. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and like you say, as a man, it sort of knocks that certainty out of you for a short sense of time until
Yeah,
you have the skills to then step back into it, which is something else that we've learned as well. And
yeah,
understanding how to do that and being able to do it fast changes everything. Like, and an argument that could be an argument, like the other day, we nearly had an argument, and then I just stepped into that masculine. Um, she dropped back into a feminine, and it just solved everything straight away.
I'd say it was almost like when he went into his feminine, he almost matched emotion with emotion. So it was like,
yes,
whether if I was being emotional or being like an attack, if he stood
yep,
strong, then I feel
yep,
like, oh no, I can knock down now because it's fine. Like I feel
yep.
secure in this. And that's
Yes,
what,
absolutely.
mm,
Guys, look, that's a great description. And I think it's really going to help other couples that have businesses, because that really becomes a stress point in a relationship.
Mm.
It's great now that you're both handling it a lot better, and certainly a great entree to the addition to your family.
Yes, absolutely.
absolutely.
All right, guys, thank you so much for being here with me. Really appreciate it.
No
No worries.
problem.
And thank you for everything.
Our pleasure, always.
Thank you.